Hey there, welcome. I'm Damien and I'm just another starving artist on the internet, and it has been a while. Um, Today we are continuing reacting to PewDiePie's or Felix. I prefer calling him Felix. PewDiePie just feels weird, like an online username you choose when you're 15, which is probably kind of what happened. So I'm just gonna call it Felix. I'm gonna be reacting to the third video of Felix's art progress. I already have a video reacting to the first two ones. It was 30 days and 100 days. You will have a link there. I'm gonna be reacting to a whole year of Felix's art progress. But before that, I want to address some comments I got on my previous video regarding his art. Let's have a look. Here we have first Scott Jameson 5358. Love this more thorough and focused explanation of Felix's video, especially from someone who's not familiar with him, so you have a more clear intrinsic criticism. But that was a bit of a mouthful, especially from someone who's not familiar with him, so you have a more clear intrinsic criticism value to not only showcase his progress, but also give us, the viewers, a better advice if we're ever interested in the art lane. Thank you, Scott. That was precisely my intention. More than criticizing Felix's art, my intention with my previous video was to address some concerns that the public seemed to have regarding his art progress. How to see Felix's progress if you are also an art beginner. I think why the original video blew up was because of the way Felix approached art differently. Art is synonymous with practice, not only in consistency, but also the steps you take to become rather good in certain techniques, styles, or perspectives. I think some people had a strong reaction to his progress due to the fact that Felix started the journey from such a mature age. So he's better at some things, but also he's more critical of himself. Can't wait to see your analysis on his 1 year art progress. Definitely caught me off guard when I saw the crazy improvements. You bring up a good point that I did not address in my previous video, which is how old Felix is. Now, I'm not saying he's too old to start art or anything. On the contrary, it's never too late to start art. I encourage anyone that wants to try, of any age, to start doing art. However, most beginner artists will be younger, and Felix already has a trajectory and a history of consuming media. Whether it's live action, manga, I know he's a big fan of Tsutomu Nihei. He really likes Blame. Also one of my favorite manga, I really respect that. But he already has experience seeing other artists. I'm not saying beginner artists don't. Younger beginner artists, I'm not saying they don't, but they haven't had the time to absorb as much experience. Absorb as much second-hand experience, actually. They haven't consumed as much art from other people as Felix may have already consumed. So their progress will be a lot slower at the beginning. Not by much. Everyone improves relatively fast at the beginning, and then it slows down as you keep going. I did mention in my previous video how I compared it to an RPG video game. When you go from level 1 to level 2 and level 3, you need like 5 experience points, then 10 experience points, then 15 experience points. But then when you want to go from level 95 to 96, you need like 7 bajillion experience points to go up that level. Art progress slows down massively after you reach a certain experience level. Thank you for the comment, Scott, anyways. And the second one that I wanted to address, I'm gonna put it somewhere. It's from Michael John 5130. We're all using full names today. Okay, Michael says, I feel like you're using the word reference in the same vein as copying. Yes, I am, because that's what, from my experience, a lot of beginner artists do online. They say they are referencing an image when they are copying it. So I just wanted to communicate what I wanted to say better to these younger artists that may feel perhaps discouraged from Felix's progress. No, he did not copy these time-stamp anime girls. He made them from his imagination, he says. Well, we watched the same video. It was not clear whether he was copying them or not. And I at no point accused him of copying them. I simply implied that I don't know if he is. And he used reference in the same way professional artists use reference, or what you will call partial reference. Yes. Sure, I understand that, but in most of the cases where I say I don't know if he's using any references is because it's not clear whether he's using them or not. I saw some mistakes that I often see very beginner artists do when they're trying to copy something without truly understanding what they're trying to copy, especially when it's stylized. Michael continues saying, it feels like this video is focusing on discrediting his art progress by saying, no, this isn't real skills, because he's referencing, copying other work even when he wasn't. He did copy from mangas occasionally to build his visual library, but he also drew from imagination, like these 3 different timestamps. Again, we watched the same video. I was trying to be as objective as possible. My intention is not to discredit anyone. Come on, I don't know Felix. Okay, I'm not a fan of his content. It's not really something I watch. I have no reason to go after the dude. I've only watched 2 of his videos, and they were like the 2 art videos. I have nothing against Felix. He seems like a very reasonable, chill dude. I don't know where you see me trying to discredit him. But also, I kind of understand, because I am personally very is a bit of an understatement. I am extremely self-critical. I set up standards for myself that are completely unreasonable and impossible for me to reach at my current skill level, and yet I still get frustrated when I don't. In the past, I have upset a number of people because they were asking for feedback, and I gave them feedback in the same way I criticize myself, which is the way I like to receive feedback as well. Extremely honestly, extremely brutally. If you did something right, I will not even mention it, because that's expected, and that's the way I see. That's the way I interact with my own art. I don't mention the good parts, because those parts are expected of a good artist, I'm assuming. I know this may sound very toxic. Don't worry. We're not going to address my relationship with art in this video. This is not the video for that. But anyways, nowadays, when someone asks for feedback, I try to be nicer about it, a lot nicer than I will be with myself. But sometimes it slips out, and I sound a bit harsher than I intend to be. So maybe that's what you're seeing. But in general, I thought I rewatched my old video, and I thought I had a very positive view of Felix's progress. I really do not know where you see me trying to discredit his progress. I think he did a great job, and I have nothing against the dude. So yeah, with that out of the way, we are going to react to his new video. Okay, so I have Clip Studio Paint prepared here in case I need to draw or explain anything that Felix is doing, but we don't need it at the moment, so we're just going to watch his video. I already liked it, so yes, I already liked it, even though I haven't watched it. It is, I have to say, it is a bit interesting that he's not cringing at his old drawings. Personally, I will cringe at a drawing I did like last week, because I'm just like that. Don't. I think most artists do just really hate their own drawings, and it's quite interesting that he's having quite a positive reaction to seeing the growth rather than just focusing on how bad it was. So yeah, I think that's good on him, actually. Yeah, he just mentioned that hard he was pressing the pencil on the paper. That's something that it happens to beginners. I still do it, actually, sometimes, not all the time. But yeah, it's something that you get used to not do as you get better. It's a bit strange. I remember when I was much younger, I would press the pencil so hard, and my hand here, I'm pretty sure a lot of us will have experienced this. It just turns kind of like silver from all the graphite that it's on the paper, and we keep rubbing our hands on the paper. It's been years since that happened to me, even though I draw quite a lot on paper as well. I in fact draw more on paper than digitally, but that hasn't happened to me in many years now. I don't know if that's the case for everyone, but I assume that that's simply because I got better at rubbing my hand on the paper. I guess. But yeah, pressing the pencil and making a mess of the paper is something that I think you eventually grow out of as you keep improving your art. That is very interesting, actually. So let me replay that a bit.
Is a change and it's already so much better.
This part.
I realize, and maybe other people have said this too, but drawing is more about training your brain to see rather than actually technical with your hand. I think that's a misconception.
That is very true, and it's quite impressive that someone that has only been drawing for a year has already realized that on their own without any proper guidance from a teacher or something. And yes, art is mostly about learning to observe and understanding what you're drawing rather than technical skills. And that's why I always encourage people to try to draw other things. So for example, let's say you're relatively good at drawing characters, but you don't draw backgrounds. You just don't. When that happens, I always recommend that you try to learn to draw backgrounds. Simply because to draw backgrounds, you will have to look at them and then try to draw them. And when you go back to drawing people, you will be way better at drawing people because you're way better at looking at things and recognizing mistakes that you may be making. So that is quite interesting. He just did what I said to not do. He just kept drawing the same thing. And to be honest, that is something that everyone will fall into at some point. I spent many years just drawing the same things I was very comfortable with as a teenager. That's why I didn't improve too much during those years. Again, he's realizing all this quite soon. Once again, probably because he's much older than when I started doing art, which I don't remember when I started doing art because I was probably not self-aware yet. But yeah, it's realized that you shouldn't keep drawing the same things you're already comfortable with. You have to step out of your comfort zone. I guess it's a bit easier for him because starting art at that age is already stepping out of your comfort zone anyways. So what is it stepping a little bit further into the uncomfortable zone? Okay, I feel like his ink work still needs some work. He's not doing a lot of ink work anyways, he's mostly doing pencils. But he just said that he tried to do some color, but color is very time consuming. But I see that his ink work is not really improving at all. It still looks the same as it did on the day 80 something and day 100 from last time. He just said it. He's sketching random stuff he found online. Okay, this is addressing the comments I got earlier. If you have him say this now, I don't know which of all the drawings we have seen up until now is been sketching from the internet or not. I just don't know which ones. And also this page that we're seeing right here is obviously from Blame or Biomega. I'm not sure which. It's probably Blame, but it's clearly inspired by Tsutomu that we know he's a big fan of. And yeah, most of these are clearly heavily referenced, if not straight up copied, because I can even recognize the panels. I've read both Blame and Jujutsu Kaisen. I remember what panels he's sketching here. Again, nothing wrong with it. I am not criticizing him at all. It's completely understandable and it is useful practice. It is useful, purposeful practice. I'm just saying that he's doing this. I am not trying to discredit him in any way. People accusing him of having an art background. Interesting. No, he doesn't. No, he is a complete beginner. I'm telling you, he's a complete beginner. And yes, he did improve this much because that's a normal art progression. He will slow down now. Because that's what happens with art and most skills actually. You get relatively good to a degree that someone that has never even attempted. It may seem like you're actually good, but you're still just a beginner, and your skill progression will slow down massively after that.
But I also think,
see, he's addressing the same as I did earlier. He's a lot older than most people starting art. He did say that if he was younger, he will probably not have improved this fast. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm not saying he's faking it. I'm not saying I'm not saying this is not real skill. I'm just saying this is a normal progression for someone his age that is starting art from nothing and practicing kind of consistently, more consistently than most of us. He is drawing way more than I do now. In fact, I haven't drawn in like a week at this point, which is pretty bad. I should pick up a pencil. And I notice he's drawing backgrounds as well. That is going to help him improve a lot. To draw directly, I'm not entirely sure where he's getting this idea from. Let me just get Clip Studio Paint so I can show you a thing. So the method he's using to draw is like this method where you draw like a circle, then you draw like the cross, and you have like the face here. And from this, wrong tool. From this, you just draw the rest of the thing. Sure, it is useful. Some manga artists do use this method. I say some, a lot of them, because it is kind of a standard for manga art. But I personally like using this other thing, which is like instead of having a circle, we have an oval that's just going to be the shape of our face, right? And within this oval, we have absolutely everything. So this is going to be the shape of our face, and this is our nose, our eyes. The eyes kind of weird. We're not trying to do good art right now. We're just trying to draw. Okay, and then we just use this. Personally, I just found that it gives you a lot more freedom to do a wider variety of characters. For example, if you want to draw characters with different types of features, with more extreme features, this method can work, but it's a bit uncomfortable to use. If we are trying to draw, I'm not sure what I'm doing. If we're trying to draw someone with a very square face, right? You can use this method, but the proportions are going to be a little bit weird. On the other hand, if you just do this, I also sketch very loosely, by the way. This is enough for me, and yeah, on top of this, you can just do whatever. If you have like a not a traditional cutesy manga style, this is a little bit more helpful, in my opinion, when it comes to being faster at actually drawing. It's not about speed, to be honest. He just said that he wants to draw directly, and that's a little bit of what I'm trying to address as well. If you want to get used to drawing more directly without any sketching, that is useful if you're trying to draw. For example, if you're trying to make a manga, it just makes you way faster. But even manga artists, even professional artists, most of the time will not draw without having any sort of croquis or sketch underneath. But having this kind of thing is just faster. It gives you a lot more flexibility. You have a very rough idea of what you want to do, and then you can just draw directly on top. Pretty much kind of almost ignoring, like, okay, you're not ignoring it because you made it for a reason, but you have a lot more flexibility this way. Right, so let's assume this is a character. Also, people have different body types. Necks are not always like this. This is going to look really weird on this character, so we're going to give him an appropriate neck that's like this. And yeah, if I just wanted to draw it like that, I could probably do it. But if I'm trying to draw a page or whatever, I first do this kind of sketching, so I know what kind of pose and how big my character is supposed to be and all that before I actually draw it. But yeah, at 1 year of drawing art, well, this is actually before the year. This is him looking at what he's trying to do between the year 100 and the first year. In this time, there's no rush to actually be able to draw without a sketch. You should just focus on like actually understanding what you're trying to sketch. He hasn't shown a lot of your practice with bodies, or it's shown some background practice, but no full-on layouts of trying to make an actual composition. So I wouldn't rush into trying to draw without any sketching. I mean, sure, if you want to, you can practice it, but you shouldn't worry too much about it. Again, he's trying to force himself to learn how to draw without sketching. Kind of pointless. Not trying to discredit him. It's just not really a skill that's required of an artist. See, he's now trying to draw other things. Watch him just talk about how he's kind of good at drawing things he's never tried before because he's just good at observing. Perhaps it will also improve his character drawing skills. Yeah, this is all heavily referenced or copied from Tsutomu manga Ningyu no Kuni specifically. He just said that he should have picked up an art book way earlier. He said this is day 300. I think that's a good point to start looking into art books. Oh, that's Taco's art book. That's actually a good one, especially if you're trying to draw anime or manga characters. But yeah, I don't think you should rush into getting art books if you haven't had any experience drawing a few things first. I think about a year of drawing with guidance, of course. Not completely blind, just having some sort of guidance, looking at tutorials, maybe having someone that can tell you more or less what direction you want to go, you can go. That is good, but getting into technical art books, that's a good point to start. I wouldn't rush into doing it earlier because you will get overwhelmed by a lot of technicalities that you shouldn't be paying attention yet. You just need to be comfortable drawing before you try any of them. Oh, he finally addressed that he's not been practicing bodies or doing sketches for bodies. Proper sketches, I mean. Yes, progress is not a straight line. I am actually quite impressed at how much he sketched during this year. Yeah, I have not been drawing anywhere near that much. And I feel like I should. But anyways, the thing is it's showing that graphic, but it's not really like that. When it comes to art, it will look a little bit like that, but in general, it goes up really fast at first, and then it kind of like plateaus. And it keeps going up. It keeps going up, just very, very slowly, while doing squiggles. Okay, let's see. Okay, the body looks a bit weird, sure. It's not practiced them too much, so that's completely fine. It is a good attempt for someone that has been only drawing for a year. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the hands. Yeah, face has not improved that much. He has a slightly cleaner ink work, I have to say that. It is a reasonable improvement from day 100 to 300. It's just slow down because that's what happens. That's way too relatable. I hate my work. I hate my art. I have to say it. I have to push myself to talk nicely about it when I'm trying to sell it. But I actually hate the way my art looks because it doesn't live up to my own expectations. And I understand that it's something that a lot of artists go through, and it doesn't get better. Just so you know. I'm going to skip the sponsor. G Fuel is not sponsoring me, so I don't have a reason to show them on my video. Again, it is more of the feeling that you know you can do better. That's what you know, but then you draw something, you draw that which you know you can do, and it doesn't look the way you know it can look. It's a constant compromise. Art is a compromise. Art is a translation job. You know how people say things are lost in translation all the time because there's no way that a language can be fully properly communicated into a different language. The same happens with art. There's a thing in your head. There's something you're imagining and you want to communicate it outwardly. And that translation doesn't convey everything that was in your head most of the time. And it's frustrating. Oh, That's interesting. We're going digital. Felix is going digital.
Coming in clutch last minute. Super satisfying.
I don't know where this is going, but personally, when I first started doing digital arts, I felt like I was learning to draw from scratch again. And it took me about a whole year to get fully comfortable drawing digitally. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do with the hair here, but it is interesting that he managed to translate his traditional skills to a digital medium quite alright, I want to say. There are still all the problems that we saw in the traditional art, but in general, the skills have been translated more or less equally. Though I'm still not sure what he was trying to do here with the hair. I don't know if he's trying to make it like watery or something. I'm not sure what's going on. I think this one he messed it up with the color. The line work looked really nice. Some anatomy issues here and there that I'm not going to mention because he's going to fix those eventually just by practicing. I don't want to bother with things that will be fixed with practice, but stay away from the brush tool. Not the brush tool, the airbrush tool, sorry. Don't do soft shadows. As a beginner, you should stay away from soft shadows. Very, very far away. As far away as you can. Just make shadows hard. Just make sharp edges for your shadows. Once you are good with that, you can start blending them. But never use the airbrush. Don't use the airbrush. Just don't. It may seem like it is, but it's not a beginner tool. It is not a beginner tool. You need to know what you're doing if you want to use the airbrush. Just don't. Just trust me. Just don't. Don't touch the airbrush. He's touched the airbrush too much here, and it's fucked up the thing. That's a really nice try. Actually, that's quite alright perspective. Obviously, needs some work. The wrinkles in the clothes are a bit not that good, but it looks alright. It looks like a good attempt for someone that has been drawing for a year, and I hope he's not gonna mess it up with color.
I was okay with this one, but I still felt like
Okay, no, that looks alright. That looks good. Before he says anything about it, I just want to say what I think about it. Stay away from the airbrush. Besides that, the hand's a bit funny. It just needs to practice a bit more hands in complicated perspectives. The clothes are not actually a bad attempt. They're obviously not perfect. They're not really that good, but it is a really good attempt for someone that hasn't been practicing drapery and clothes that much. I have to say that he still struggles with the same thing I discussed on my previous video, which is the connection between the neck and the shoulders. That is something that a lot of beginners will struggle with. It's not just Felix specifically. It is the one thing that I see even older beginners, like beginners that are almost no longer beginners, they sometimes still struggle with that. It is an anatomically complicated area to understand, but yeah, it is the one thing that trips up most beginners. Stay away from the airbrush. I don't understand what... I don't know if you can see my cursor right here underneath the hair, where the hair touches the forehead. I don't understand what these highlights are, because I feel like those should be shadows. If the light's coming from the top, like the hair reflections are implying, the hair should be casting a shadow on top of the forehead, which should be right where those bright things are. So I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm not sure if that is the lower lip or she's sticking her tongue out. Actually, now that I look at it, the eyes are not in the correct perspective. The eyes are in like a straight line when it should be like kind of curved. But that's fine. That's fine. Those are mistakes that you simply fix with experience. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a natural progression, especially seeing how he went from traditionally to digital. Some of the traditional skills will translate nicely into digital, but you will be less good. You will get worse for a while. So I think this is good progress. This is very good, honest progress. He's asking if he's allowed to be happy. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it is good progress. It is reasonable progress as well. I do hope that there's still a bit of video left, but whatever. This is going to sound like a bit of a closing message. I hope that no one feels discouraged by Felix's progress, because it is a completely normal and natural progress to have for someone that has been practicing art for a year as much as he has. again, because of circumstances, he's older, he may have more time that most people can afford to spend practicing art when you're younger, especially because like you have to go to school, you may have to do chores, you may have other responsibilities that stop you from practicing art as much as you would like. But I think where you're younger, you shouldn't really worry too much about how fast you're improving. You still have a lot of time for you to improve. You should be practicing, not just practicing blindly, but learning to practice. That is something that I find a lot of people, even not beginners, don't understand. When I tell them just practice, they don't understand how to practice, and that's why they think that's bad advice. I made a video about that, though I might revisit it with better arguments, because I think I did quite a weak job on that video. Where was I? As a teenager, you don't have a lot of experience observing things. I will try to focus on learning to observe as well. Learning to practice, learning to observe, and consuming art in general. Searching for inspiration, searching for what other people have done in the past. If you do that, you'll be fine. Even if you don't improve as fast as Felix did, you'll be fine. You don't have to give up on art just because one person progressed a bit faster than you did. Also, from what I've seen, Felix doesn't intend to go professional or anything. If you are doing art as a hobby, then I don't see why you need to compete with anyone. And if you're trying to go professionally, Felix is not your competition. And neither am I, probably. Okay, he still thinks today 80 something is better than what he did now. Sure, it will happen. Again, art progression is not a straight line, and he just switched to digital art as well, so it will not look as good. He says that he loved drawing as a kid and he doesn't know why he stopped. Most people are like that. Not most artists, most people like drawing at some points when they're kids. They're not encouraged to keep going, even if it's a hobby, because it's not useful. It's not a useful skill to have. It's a childish thing to do. It's a thing you need talent for, which is bullshit. Those are usually the reasons why people stop drawing. They're kind of discouraged from keep going. It's good that Felix picked up art again, and I do hope he inspired a lot of other people to do the same as well. He says it's not rocket science, but even rocket science is about practice. Oh, it will be a next time. Maybe we're gonna get a 2-year or 3-year. I think a 3-year is a good checkpoint. 2 years is a bit too soon, I think.
You are not going to believe what the next sponsor is. No.
We have another sponsor. I'm not gonna watch another sponsor. Let me gather my thoughts before I form an argument. Why is my nose and why is my face so shiny? I'm not even greasy or anything. I'm just shiny today. Whatever. I don't know. I think I said everything. I don't have anything extra to add. I just want to repeat again that I'm not trying to discredit Felix. I think he's a cool dude. I just don't watch any of his content because it really just doesn't call to me. I think that's it. So if you like what I do, if you like my work, you can find all my links to social media down in the description. In the same link, you will find a link to my Patreon and my shop if you want to support me. My shop if you want to get something in return for your support as well. And yeah, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, things that the algorithm likes, and hope you found this video helpful and insightful, if only a little. Keep drawing, keep getting better, and I'll see you next time.